you so much for your patience on that with the technical difficulties. And let's hear it for the director.
I really want to thank you a lot for staying, for being patient and not walking out. It was, yeah, well, it's a technical problem. I hope you could enjoy the movie even.
Like I said, literally 10 minutes before we let you in, we were wondering what to do, whether we should cancel, but I was pretty confident that once the film started, you're in that world, and it's such a beautiful world. We only had 3 people walk out. One was not patient, and the other person was quite upset by the violence in the film and was not prepared for it. Didn't read the program note or notice the film is called Painless. So I'd like to ask you, I mean, this is interesting because we've seen many films which are kind of from Spain, which are fantastic films, but set against the backdrop of the Spanish Civil War. How did you come up with the idea for this film?
First of all, the basic idea was I wanted to make a film about basic philosophical and religious concern, which is the concern with pain and with evil. So why do we have to exist with it and grow with it? If if God is supposed to be good, etc. But I didn't want to. I didn't want to make an intellectual treatment of this. So when I heard about this disease of insensitivity to pain, I knew I had found the correct vector to tell this story. You know, the correct metaphor to tell the story in a very physical and visceral way. So I wonder what would happen if when we're children, we in those first years we grow up by learning. I mean, by putting the hands over the fire stove and getting burned and stuff, and we learn that the fire starts bad and we don't have to touch it, or that we don't have to jump from the 4th floor of the house and stuff because we're going to break our legs and stuff. And I wonder what would happen if you would have this disease and you wouldn't, which is real, it exists, and so you don't feel pain, and you grow in this world where you think like you're a sort of superhero, you have a superpower, but it's a curse, you know. And I wonder what would happen in Spain in the 30s. The only thing that they could do with these children is lock them up, and because they wouldn't know what it is, what was this disease. So they lock them up, and they leave all the story of those tragic years in the country locked up in this place. So they're going to know the war, the post-war, and I imagine this character, this Bercano, as a sort of he's a sort of kind of Frankenstein monster. He's a little child, an innocent monster, a little child that goes into this nightmare world and turns into an absolute monster, an embodiment of evil and pain and stuff like that. So,
what can you tell us about the actor who played Bercano? Very striking.
Yeah. Well, I first saw Thomas Lemarquin, Noé Albino, and Noé Albino. It's an Icelandic movie. And it really struck me. It had this incredible appearance, and which I thought would be excellent to do the part. So I met him, and I was really surprised by his. I mean, I loved his dedication and the fact that he was a hard worker, and I really wanted to make the movie. He was very, very committed. And he stayed all the way through all these years. It was a difficult movie to make. It was to get the money and stuff, and he stayed there, and he was there, and when we shot the movie, he showed an incredible dedication. He wore this makeup. It took 6 hours to put the makeup in the end, and so because we didn't have we couldn't give him 12 hours. Yeah, and he was shooting 2 days. He went to sleep with it one night. So he came to the hotel with his makeup, like the people from the hotel. It was pretty funny. And well, he slept with that all night, and it's like, so to give you an idea of the kind of actor he is, it's extremely dedicated.
One of the other things that I admire about the film is that you have these two overlapping timelines, which are both proceeding, but you're able to keep it balanced so well, and it's never really confusing. And can you talk about the struggle or the decision to do that?
Well, for me, it was evident that it was a story about how the past genetically affects the present. No, it's a story about how a secret that is put behind a wall. There is a gangrene, and it grows and grows, and it sort of infects the future. No? So it was very important to show this past storyline and the present storyline and how they intertwine, but not with flashbacks. It's more like The Godfather Part 2. No? It's like most the Coppola film. It's like the story of the father and the story of the son, two different times, and you have a sort of. And I really try to make a single movie seamless, you know, that went from the past to the present. And one of the most important guidelines I had was really that it was very important that the story would be told through the presence and the eyes of the two lead characters, of the father and the son.
Maybe questions from the audience here. Yes, yell it out.
Well, first of all, enhorabuena para la película. Congratulations for the movie.
Thank you. Thank you.
I couldn't help kind of linking some of the events of the movie to the scandals that we had in Spain with the kidnapped babies.
Yes, absolutely.
Was that the inspiration for the film, or did it happen at the same time?
No, I understood perfectly the question. Sorry. Yes. So there's been something in Spain. Basically, there are many, like hundreds of thousands of people who have discovered what the lead character discovers in this movie. That is not his parents' biological son. That has been stolen to a prisoner during the post-war era. So this stuff has happened to hundreds of thousands of people in Spain. And so there was in the aftermath of the Civil War, there was this organization called Auxilio Social. It was an organization from the dictatorship, also organized by nuns, by religious organization. And their main job was, to educate the youth, the orphans from the war, etc. But there was a very dark side to this. They would actually take the babies from Republican prisoners in prisons. They would wait until they had the child, and they would kill them. And they would take this child, change all the documents, falsify them, and they would give them to a family that was akin to the dictatorship. No? So a lot of children have discovered in these past years that they don't belong to their real biological fathers, and their real biological fathers were people who were killed or tortured, etc., etc. So the movie touches this theme, yes, and it's and I think it's sort of one of the things that haunts really the Spanish collective unconscious. It's these sort of things that they're not really spoken. They're never been really dealt with, and today they're like popping and giving very bad seeds in the not only in the country but also in the families. That's the incredible stuff. You see these structures, these things that happen among families. You see them in the entire country.
What else do we have? Anyone in the balcony? Shy? Yes, on the side here.
I was just curious, like near the end when you're seeing father at the car, he leaves through 3 vials, and then when the guy goes into the tunnel, he finds thousands of vials. Where was it the vials?
Can you explain the vials, the little glass vials?
Well, the vials are a symbol of Bergano's condition, because he's sensitive to pain, but he doesn't cry very much. It's explained in the beginning of the movie, and actually, so these children, they use these drops, these eye drops. So it's kind of a symbol of their condition. And when the guy, when David comes into this layer at the end, and he sees all these vials, the idea is that that a lot of time has passed, and Bergana was there for a long time.
Anyone over there? Oh yes, right in the center.
Yes, that's the idea. Yes.
Yes. Did you hear the question up there?
No, we don't.
Yeah, it was. The question was about when he does the operation of the dog and is able to control the pain.
Yes.
It's just suggests that he can control pain.
Yeah, actually, yes, he can. Of course, the idea is that he learns to control. I mean, this therapy, this strange therapy, they teach them to understand pain without being able to feel it. Just because they can feel it, they teach them to understand it in an intellectual way. So basically, yes, it's like, you know, he can operate this and he can know when he's doing pain or not, but he can feel it. And he doesn't understand what it is, of course.
Anyone else? Yes. Yes.
Can you tell us more about the Canfranc Hospital, like where it is in Spain and how you can find it? History of the building?
Yes, well, this place is a fictional place, of course. I mean, Canfranc is a sort of a very symbolic place, and because it was a tunnel there in what's called the Saint-Port Tunnel, and it was during World War II. And during a long time, it was the only way for trains to pass from France to Spain and back and forth. So during the World War II, the Germans they took a lot of tungsten from Spain because they used it for their tanks, and it was like very important supply. And and the only tungsten they could find was in Spain. And so there was these huge shipments of tungsten going from Spain to France, and on the other side they were full of gold bullion to pay for it and stuff. So this place was like strategic during the whole war, and that's why it happens there, and it's just in the border between Catalonia and Aragon. We created this place from scratch. I mean, there is not really a psychiatric asylum there. It was actually it's a military fort that we reinvented. We created. We made this place that you see in the movie.
Right, well, I'd like to thank you very much, and please do tell your friends we should be getting these issues worked out for the second screening. Let's hear it for Painless.
Thank you very much.
Also, please plan to come back and check out some of the other Vanguard films. We have Room 237, a documentary about conspiracy theories within Stanley Kubrick's The Shining. Ill Manners, directed by UK hip-hop sensation Ben Drew, and several other weird and wonderful films. Thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of the festival.
Thank you.